Welcome into the Cowboys Report with this custom suit provided by Kashiyama the Smart. You can check out their new modern tailored suit line at kashiyama1927.com. A little bit more of a news focus on today's Cowboys Report, and let's start with, I'm just going to call it the drama around Dak's contract extension that kind of is, kind of isn't. It's Schrodinger's contract offer for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, obviously, on one of our more recent videos, I said, no, those numbers aren't right, and we'll kind of dive into those here in just a second. Look, the offer was made around the Combine, but we don't know what the details are, and it was kind of new, but the original report didn't have the correct details of $33 million a year, 105 guaranteed. Other reports have said that that amount is actually less than what was offered. Regardless of what happened, though, the only thing we can say for certain is Dak didn't take the offer that was presented at the NFL Combine. So we'll try and backtrack here and go timeline by timeline each of the different reports because, frankly, we're all over the map right now. The initial report was from Calvin Watkins. An offer of $33 million, $105 million guaranteed was made to the Cowboys. There was no date mentioned on that offer. In fact, the words new wasn't even in the article. And then Watkins, by the way, later came back with a different tweet and said an offer has been made. So I don't think his initial report was actually a new offer. It was just the current one that was out there. Mike Fisher, meanwhile, said those numbers are back from September, and we'd heard that before, so it made sense, right? Now, Fisher has now said that new offer that is made is more than what Watkins had reported. That kind of led to some uncertainty of, wait, how many offers are there right now? Now, Todd Archer earlier this week also mentioned that there is a new offer out there for Dak Prescott. But as is the case with pretty much all of these reports, the exact details actually aren't known. Which brings me to question, well, it's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it. If there's an offer out, but we don't know what the details are, does it even count? And if it's new, how do we define new? Because Ian Rappaport says that offer's weeks old. It came around the Combine and clearly didn't do much to move the needle for Dak in these negotiations. And Mike Florio has come on and said, hey, there's been one new offer total, and it came back on March 2nd. Is that new? I don't know. And the details are still unknown. So in reality, we are all over the map on what exactly is going on with Dak Prescott's contract extension, and we don't really know what the details are right now. Now, in terms of figuring out why there's no deal, a couple different things. The uncertainty around the CBA, obviously a big deal. Dak's agent is not backing down. That's very clear. The Cowboys want value. Also, super clear. Those are the big three. And we mentioned this exact graphic like 2 weeks ago when I left the Combine. Everything's still true. Length of the deal was a big factor. Guaranteed money is part of the reasons why those first three aren't getting done yet. We'll come back to the guaranteed money, by the way, because we're not done talking about Dak. But I don't want you guys to miss out. Everyone do me a favor. Double check that your notifications are actually turned on to all and not just like off or personalized. This number might surprise you because it surprised me too. YouTube sent us the numbers. Only 21.6 of you actually have your notifications turned on. So scroll down, find that bell button, and make sure it's clicked and that all your notifications are turned on and it's not just personalized or even downright off. That way, you won't miss videos here on the Cowboys Report. All right, back over now to that guaranteed side of it. That's a factor. Now, much was made about the $105 million. Like, wow, how could Dak turn that down? My counterpoint is, guys, it's less than Goff, Wentz, and Wilson. Now, you can try and spin it about, oh, yeah, well, Dak doesn't have anything going on in terms of his contract's over. Therefore, that you have to give him less, which, why are you penalizing a player for letting his contract finish out? Guys, you can guarantee the full value of his base salary last year. It's still less than Jared Goff with that $105 million offer. It's not a great one. That's kind of a big deal. So there's all kinds of stuff going on with Dak Prescott's deal. I'll make one note here that we haven't seen super big leaks, just like some numbers being floated out in a more general standpoint, not like everyone is reporting the numbers in the same way, leads me to indicate that maybe these contract talks aren't that far off and they are at least a little bit closer. But as we've mentioned before, the clock's ticking. Now, the NFL has once again pushed back the franchise tag deadline. Originally, it was supposed to be today, Tuesday. In fact, it should have already passed. They then bumped it back to Thursday. And now with the NFLPA pushing back their deadline to vote for the CBA, the new franchise tag deadline is March 16th, 1 second before noon Eastern, which is when the legal tampering period begins for NFL free agency. What all of that means put together, clock's ticking, and in a span of less than a week, there's going to be a whole lot of crazy stuff that happens around the NFL and the Cowboys. Now, getting one of those guys you see back there, Cooper Dak, done, that's important. Before we dive into that, though, I am rocking this awesome Kashiyama suit. You can explore their stuff as well at Kashiyama1927.com. They've got their new modern TAILOR line. That's exactly what it is. It's modern. It is built for the 21st century professional. All the fabrics are more up to date. You can wash your suit, which I know sounds crazy, but that's exactly what you can do. The fabric's a little bit different. It's not that cotton blend. No, this is a little bit closer to that athletic gear that is so comfortable and so much better these days, but it's in a suit. It's travel ready. You can wash it. It's also wrinkle resistant, and they start at just $300. They've also got all kinds of like super modern and super easy to use items. Like they got little hidden zip up pockets. It's a little bit stretchier as well. It's the single best modern suit you're able to find out there. And to start at $300 is a fantastic deal. So go check them out at Kashiyama1927.com. You can book your appointment there. And yes, that appointment is free to book, and they're right here in Dallas. On now to Amari Cooper, as promised for you guys. This is the one rumor. The rest of the stuff will be mostly news. This is going to be the rumor for today's show. Ed Warner reports that the Cowboys working hard to re-sign Cooper. No real surprise there. This is the more noteworthy updated part, is that Cooper and his agent are a little bit more motivated to get something done than maybe they'd been in the past. For me, that's a big deal because you got to get one of these guys done before the tag deadline. You're going to know for certain if you have one tag or two, because if the CBA passes, you have one. If it doesn't, you get two and you buy yourself some flexibility. But you have to find a way to get one of these deals done because you can't let them both at the open market. That is a good way to risk losing somebody in free agency. So who gets paid first? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Type D for Dak Prescott or type C for Amari Cooper. I think it's kind of close to a toss-up here. Warner thinks Cooper makes more sense, but I will make this the pinned comment of the video. So scroll on down there and cast your votes right there. D for Dak, C for Cooper. Now the price tag for Amari Cooper and everybody else that is going to get paid because welcome to life in free agency, but the price tag for Cooper is going to be expensive. You're looking probably around 18 or so million. I know that's a lot of money. That's the per year amount. Now, of course, we want to mention as well the guaranteed side of it as well. That's also a big factor because is it going to come in at around 60? Could you maybe be looking at something along the lines of I think the Cowboys would like more of a long-term deal. Could you do $5 million or 5 years, $90 million total? That's about $18 million per year and say $60 million guaranteed. I think that ends up looking pretty close in the end to what the Cowboys are looking for. Maybe a little bit less than the guarantees, but that's a negotiation. So we'll wait and see, assuming it does get done, what that contract ends up looking like. And more Cowboys news. It is the Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL Hall of Fame that we played in early August out in Canton, Ohio. The Cowboys actually wanted to be involved in this game once Jimmy Johnson was named a Hall of Fame member. Of course, Bill Cowher on the Steelers side. They always pair two teams that have players or coaches involved in this year's Hall of Fame class. So before we give my thoughts on this, I want to hear from you guys. Are you happy, sad, or you just don't care at all about the Cowboys playing in the Hall of Fame game? Now, on the sad side, you might be worried, oh, Tom, there could be more injuries. I think it's pretty straightforward for me, quite frankly. I think this is a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys. I am pleased this is the case for Dallas. Yes, you do run the risk of more injuries, but there are benefits here. You get added practice time with the new Cowboys coaching staff. That's Mike McCarthy. That is, I think, maybe even more importantly, the defensive side of the ball with Mike Nolan coming in, and it's long, I think, will be a significantly different new scheme. Training camp gets bumped up. Yes, you do run the risk of those third stringers or fourth stringers getting hurt. The added practice time is absolutely worth it, especially in the NFL that has been cutting down on practice time in recent years. So for me, this is a no-brainer. This is a really good move by the Cowboys. I like that they went out and tried to actively get this opportunity to play in the Hall of Fame game. I think it's a good thing for Dallas. All right, question for you guys. Now, have you ever been to Dallas? Type Y for yes, N for no. I know not that many of you guys live in the area, but have you visited? Have you come down for a Cowboys game? Cast your votes. Y for yes, N for no. And oh, by the way, why I ask you? Well, there might be a draft prospect coming down to Dallas in the near future. That is CJ Henderson, who says he is likely going to have a pre-draft visit with the Dallas Cowboys. This is not a huge surprise to me, but it is a good thing. Henderson, I believe, is a real candidate to go number 17 overall, assuming, of course, the Cowboys, as we anticipate, do end up losing Byron Jones in free agency. Now, tackling is an issue for Henderson, just like it is for Christian Fulton and a variety of others, although I do tend to prefer my corners to be better at coverage and preventing players from getting the ball than they are tackling once the receiver already has the ball in his hands. And corner is a big-time need for the Cowboys. Remember, there is at least a possible chance that 3 of your top 5 corners are gone. Byron, Anthony Brown, CJ Goodwin are all free agents. That leaves Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, and a bunch of players that haven't really gotten playing time before. That's a bit of a red flag. So if you lose Byron and Anthony Brown, corner undoubtedly is one of your biggest needs entering the draft. Now, Henderson had his combine, did very well, by the way, showed up with good size, 6'1", 204, 31 5-inch arms. So not super long, but still above average in that category. Really good 40-yard dash, by the way, 4.39, sub 4.4 is good at times. Vertical was also impressive there. He's a good athlete, and of course, size does matter for a cornerback, and Henderson checks that box. Now, speaking of size and fittings, a reminder, today's show is presented by Kashiyama. They hooked me up with this awesome suit, and you can get one too. All it takes is 1 hour to get your perfect fit over at Kashiyama. You can check them out at Kashiyama1927.com or email them to set up a free appointment as well. It's Dallas at Kashiyama1927.com. That free fitting, exactly that. It is free. There's really no reason to not try it out. Back to CJ Henderson here. The coverage stats are good, not great. You want more ball skills, but he showed better production in that area back in 2018. But I think there's clearly an obvious CB1, right? Like, that's kind of a no-brainer. Obviously, it's Jeffrey Okudah. He is without a doubt the number 1 corner in the NFL draft, but he's not going to be there at 17. After that, it's a little bit of a muddied field, if you will. Maybe it's Christian Fulton. I would maybe think towards Fulton, but I like Henderson a lot as well. It's very close right there. Jeff Gladney, Trayvon Diggs. So from the mock drafts I've done, I think the board will fall. I actually end up feeling a little bit better about the way the draft falls for the Cowboys if they go corner in round 1, especially if Javon Kinlaw isn't available. But let me know what you guys think. Which corner do you want the Cowboys to draft? You can say Okudah, but it's just not going to happen. Fulton, Henderson, a variety of others are also good picks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Moving on now to some roster moves by the Dallas Cowboys. Jamiz Olawale, his club option has been picked up for the 2020 season. $1.7 million cap hit this year. There was only going to be $500,000 in savings if it was declined. We mentioned him before. We also mentioned, look, it's tough. You're not going to find a player that cheap, so at that point, you're probably better off just picking it up and reevaluating it after the 2020 season ends. Olawale is the team's fullback, the only one on the roster, as the Cowboys the past couple of years, frankly, have gone thin at the running back and fullback, that backfield spot. And Mike Weber, by the way, we mentioned it, but I know a lot of you guys missed it because it was under the radar. He's actually with the Chiefs now, not on the roster anymore. Jordan Chunn, he's on the team right now. He's your RB3, but that could be an area the Cowboys look to add in undrafted free agency, or maybe even somebody in normal free agency as well. But that's kind of the mindset there. Now, part of the reason you picked up the team option on Jamiz Olawale is because of his special teams value. He played 118 offensive snaps, played a lot more on special teams. In fact, Olawale had the second most special team snaps behind only CJ Goodwin on the Dallas Cowboys. Kick coverage and returns he was actively involved in. That's one of the areas the Cowboys value him, although I still think it's a big area of need, regardless of if he was on the team or not. Last roster move here, Adam Redmond, who was set to be an exclusive rights free agent. He has been re-signed by the Dallas Cowboys, and you thought there would be no moves before the franchise tag deadline hit for the Dallas Cowboys. This one isn't a huge surprise. Redmond, he brings you depth on the interior. This was the world's easiest contract to negotiate. He was an exclusive rights free agent, which, to sum up kind of generally here, means, hey, Adam, do you want to play football next year? Great. Do you want to play for the Cowboys? You can say yes, or you can say no and then just not play. The Cowboys were the only team that could negotiate with him, so it was either offer a contract, accept it and play, or the Cowboys don't bring him back altogether, or Redmond sits out football. Yeah, no surprise here. He's back on the Cowboys for 2020. Does not mean, though, that he's guaranteed to make the roster. Now, with Joe Looney, Xavier Su'a-Filo set to be free agents, even with Redmond back in the fold, you're probably going to look for some added interior offensive line help. But Redmond, who can play center and guard, coming in super cheap as an exclusive rights free agent, yeah, that was a no-brainer re-signing for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.